What's up, YouTube? Special shout out to the subscribers here and welcome to another weekly training video where I'm here to talk through all the training I'm doing to prepare for Ironman Texas coming up in April of 2026. In today's video, I'm going to talk through how last week's training went. We're going to take a look at next week's training, and then I'll talk about what Garmin Connect thinks about my last couple weeks of training and look at some of the training status data that I have in my Garmin Connect account. So let's get started and talk about last week's training. And I think some overall themes for last week's training is that I feel like last week was a very productive week of training. I feel like I did a lot of things that I was a little nervous to do that ended up working out well. And that always feels good. I really like that sort of reassurance that the training that I'm doing is challenging, but I'm also able to complete the training even though it's challenging. And I enjoy that feeling. I think that also last week my swimming was a little bit I don't want to say ignored because I went to the pool 3 times, but all 3 of my swims ended up being really short. So on Monday, the swim was only 35 minutes. On Wednesday, it was 28 minutes, and then another 28 minutes on Friday. That's all on me. I think that I did a little bit of a poor job of getting to the pool with enough time to swim. However, I'm glad that I got in the water 3 times. And I'm looking to try to maybe get that 20 more minutes of swimming per session to try to get that weekly swim volume back up where I like to see it. So day by day, like I mentioned, on Monday, went to the pool, had to cut my swim a little bit short, had a nice yoga session on Monday night. On Tuesday, I had a very challenging bike ride. Before the bike ride, I had to get my strength training done. I'm still doing a 5-day-a-week cycling strength program. And Tuesdays and Thursdays are sort of like the big strength training days. So Tuesday morning, knocked out the strength training, got on the bike, had this 15-minute build workout where you're going 45 minutes for a main set, 15 minutes high zone 2, 15 minutes in zone 3, 15 minutes high zone 4, so above FTP. And it was definitely a challenging workout. I'm pretty happy with my results. Particularly the last 15 minutes, I was able to average 326 watts. My current FTP is 317. So the fact that I was able to ride 10 watts higher than my FTP for 15-minute average, coming off the back of 30 minutes straight of cycling in aerobic effort, and then also that zone 3 chunk for 15 minutes. I was very happy with my 15-minute average at the end, and I was very grateful that I did not have a brick run to do after that interval ride. So also, I've been live streaming my bike workouts here on YouTube. That whole 15-minute of zone 4 suffering is there on my channel under live broadcasts. And I just think it's kind of crazy that I'm putting these workouts out there. I'm at points in these workouts, I'm just like whimpering and making all sorts of just strange noises. And it's still coming to grips with the idea of all that just going out on YouTube. But I am doing it. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. And I'm going to continue doing these workouts live on the YouTube channel. So it's a fun little experiment. On Wednesday, went out and got that swim done early in the morning. Did a 30-minute easy run across the street at the park on the gravel. Also did a little bit of strength training on Wednesday. And finally had a very kind of just leisurely bike ride. I went and picked up some lunch, rode my bike around, really chill. Thursday, easy spin, but before that spin, I went and did probably the hardest strength session that I've had to do yet on my strength training program. Some of the movements that I did on that Thursday set, I was doing deadlifts. I was also doing some Bulgarian split squats with 15 pounds in each hand. Really felt like I was getting into the gym and kind of picking up heavy stuff and putting it down. I've done a lot of body weight strength training, but I'm really trying to get into more resistance, more weight, and the cycling strength program that I've been on since this summer, I feel has really prepared me to finally get in there and like I said, pick up heavy stuff and put it down. So I did 3 sets of those deadlifts with 95 pounds on the bar, which is a big deal for me. Again, doing those Bulgarian splats with weight and squats. And then also these moves called the Turkish get up, which is you're holding a kettlebell above your head and you're sort of getting up from the floor while keeping that kettlebell overhead. And this is one of those sessions that I was like intimidated by and a little worried about, and it was challenging, but I got through it. So same thing about Tuesday's ride, that interval ride I just talked about. Like 3 times this week, I was like, oh my God, am I going to survive this workout? So Tuesday's ride was tough. Thursday's strength session was tough. And then, after that the strength session on Thursday, I did a indoor ride on the trainer for 1 hour. And then also ended up riding my bike around to look at some Halloween decorations later that night with my son. So rounded out a pretty good day of training as well. Friday, got to the pool, swam half of the workout I was supposed to do. I was just like super late on Friday morning, putting the recycling out and stuff like that before getting in the car. Then I did my little strength session on Friday and moved on to the weekend. The weekend training was kind of a big deal for me. Like looking at it last week when I was making this video, I thought to myself, man, if I can get those workouts done over the weekend, I'm gonna really demonstrate to myself that I'm getting back into some pretty good shape, specifically with my running, because Saturday's run not only was the longest run that I've done in weeks, it is the most intensity that I've put into a run since I have been diagnosed with this injury back in July, August, and been recovering ever since. So Saturday's run, the set was 3 by 1 mile at 5K pace. Actually got to do this run with my coach, and I asked him, hey, the most intensity I had done to this point was 1 mile worth of 200s. I did last week, and I said, what if I just do 2 by 1 mile today, and if I feel good, that's the end. I don't really want to push all the way into 3 miles at my 5K pace. And he agreed it was a good idea. First one, went out, ran 6:40 per mile. Really felt amazing to be running that fast. My foot felt solid, my hip felt solid. Really just the mile itself felt really long. That was the thing that was like a little bit concerning. Like it felt great to be running fast. I felt like I'd been running fast for a while. I'm going, and I'm just like, when is this mile gonna end? Like it really, like, I guess maybe I haven't done it in a while, but it just felt like I thought there was something wrong with my watch. I was like, maybe I lost satellite connection. And then, bloop, sure enough, it chirped off at 6:40 and, mile split. And I recognized that I'm just like not used to running with intensity for any length of time. Did the recovery and then went back and ran about 6:38 pace per mile for that second one. And honestly, I was just so like relieved at that point that I got through 2 of those intervals. Tried to run a nice, steady, easy pace all the way back, and I'm really happy with that run. I spent the rest of the day just waiting for my foot to flare up, and yeah, I was a little sore, and I was a little, being careful with it, but honestly, nowhere near the amount of discomfort that I had been dealing with back when I first got diagnosed with my TFL injury. So definitely heading in the right direction. And then finally, Sunday's ride yesterday was another really tough session where I just felt like I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to have it in the bag. But I got it done. Main set 1, 45 minutes of effort, 12-minute zone 3, 3-minute zone 4, back and forth for 3 reps. So that's 45 minutes straight. Definitely was challenging. I averaged about 265 watts on the zone 3 efforts and about 315 on the zone 4 efforts. And then the second main set was 4 by 8 minutes at zone 4 at low cadence, and these were just killing me. First one I did averaged 302 watts, then the 303, dropped down to about 294, and then on the last one, I don't know what it was. I think I just felt really motivated that I had gotten to that point in the workout, and I felt like I did have it in the bag. I was like, I got this. Like I could do another 8 minutes. I got a really I was surprised at how rallied I was able to get myself at that point, and my body responded phenomenally. Like that last 8 minutes, even though it was my hardest one, I did 308 watts. It felt the best out of all four of them somehow. And I love when my body surprises me like that, and just turns out I was ready. And I think that's the big takeaway from my training last week, was that it's getting more challenging, but I'm ready for it. And that feels really good. So that is my long-winded explanation of how last week's training went. Let's just take a look at next week's training pretty briefly. Got my swim done this morning, 2,900 yards. Got there early, got it done. So that felt good to actually complete a swim workout after cutting all three of my swims in half last week, just because I just was a little late. Tomorrow I've got a zone 3 ride, 45-minute zone 3 ride, 30-minute run. I'm looking forward to that. Nothing intimidating about that at all. Sounds great. Wednesday I've got a pace run. I'm going to get out and run some intervals, 4-minute intervals. And I think that'll be another good step in the right direction for me to just feel more confident with my running. 1 minute build to race pace, 4 minutes at race pace, 4 minutes slower than race pace, 1 minute easy. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that one. Swim on Thursday. I might end up kind of swapping this around, but 2-hour interval ride in the middle of the week. Oh boy. This one's tough too. 8 minutes, 6 by 8 minutes of zone 4, high zone 4, and then recovery and 3 minutes of low zone 3. Oh yeah, 6 of those. That'll be fun. So yeah, that looks kind of tough. That's going to be a tough workout. On Thursday, tough bike ride. Friday, back in the pool, 2,900 yards. I really enjoy this swim. It's a good one. Saturday, 20-minute at 10K pace. That should be interesting. That'll be 20 minutes at around, 650, sub 7. That's all I'll shoot for, I guess. So that'll be fun. And then on Sunday, I've got the 15-minute builds again, the dreaded 15-minute builds, the same workout I did last Tuesday, but I'm running off the bike for 30 minutes afterwards. All right. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty good week too. And not to mention, I got strength training 5 times per week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Also going to do yoga tonight as well. So my goodness, that's a lot. All right, finally, let's just take a look at what Garmin thinks about all of this madness. Haha, I am maintaining. As of yesterday and today, I am maintaining, according to Garmin. Before that, I was unproductive, and then I'd been in this sort of like pattern over the last few weeks where I'm just like going between productive and unproductive, productive, unproductive, productive, unproductive, productive, unproductive. And now I'm back in maintaining. My training load is looking pretty good. Shot up really high 2 weekends ago, and then I didn't really do a hard workout last weekend, so it sort of drooped down, but that interval ride I did on Sunday shot me right back up, and now I'm staying within that range pretty well. And that green acceptable range is on that upward right trajectory, which is always fun to see. Breakdown of the training load. I'm doing more than the recommended amount of high aerobic training and low aerobic training. So I'm doing more of that training than Garmin thinks I should be doing. And I'm doing way less anaerobic training compared to what Garmin thinks I should be doing. We'll see if some of these bike intervals this week, maybe we'll get my heart rate up to a point where Garmin will decide that I'm doing some anaerobic effort, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I've been using Garmin Connect for a long time, and I'll just say there's been very few times when it actually has me in that acceptable range for the anaerobic activity. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time with my heart rate up above 180. And maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to let Garmin, tell me what to do a little bit more. Either way, I just think it's fun to look at. And I really appreciate you taking the time, listen to this. If you have any questions about my training, anything at all, I'm totally an open book. Would love to talk about it in the comments section. And I appreciate any consideration that you might have about the training that you might want to let me know about. even if you think I'm crazy or if you think I'm not doing the right stuff. I want to hear it. So let me know. And I'll be back next Monday with another update. And it'll be race week, pretty much. Be getting ready for the last triathlon of the season. Oilman. That being said, I should probably sign up for Oilman. All right. Take care. Have a good week. I'm going to go sign up for this race. Bye-bye.